You are now rocking with the best Illmatic podcast with your host, Louis L. Reed. Surviving beats, overcoming breaks. We got motion. Your go-to podcast unpacking hip-hop, trauma, and transformation.
Welcome back. Illmatic, surviving beats, overcoming breaks. This is your man, Louis L. Reed, joined by special co-host, PC, otherwise known as the Hood Pastor. I'm giving up all his monikers. Otherwise known as Pastor Carl Day, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Welcome, my brother.
Yo, yo.
Join again. Allow them to reintroduce themselves. Join again for another special episode of Illmatic by Donte and Reginal. Where we last left off, we were talking about trauma and we were talking about mental health. And off air, Donte, you were discussing how just today, you were balled up in a corner and you were crying. What was going on at that time when you were experiencing those emotions?
I guess I get overwhelmed at times. Like, knowing I gotta come here, I gotta share my story. Mm-hmm. I gotta talk about it. I gotta revisit that dark place.
Mm-hmm. And that story, just for the purposes of our listeners or our viewers who didn't get the first portion of our conversation, your story is that you did 13 years off of a life plus 32-year sentence that was due to corruption through the Philadelphia Police Department, a corrupt prosecutor's office, but ultimately you were able to get free. And you've been home 8 months.
Well, 7.
7 months, but who's counting? Seven months after 13 years from a sentence that was executed on you in the total of life plus 32 years. And we're talking about recovering from that prison traumatic stress disorder, the new PTSD. And you were saying just a few minutes ago how even coming in here, you have to go into a dark place. What does that dark place look like for you?
That dark place is no hope, stress, depression, anxiety, PTSD, and just feeling like you ain't got nothing to live for at times though. Like that's that place. That's that place. That's how I felt when I was sitting in that jail cell, dying to live while living to die.
And what usually brings you back to that place now that you're free? Because there are people who might be watching this or they might be listening to us and they may say, well, you're free. You got everything to live for. What complaints do you got? Your worst day out here should be better than your best day on the inside. And so what are some of the triggers that brings you back into that place?
Like, what is free though? Yeah, my body free, my mind not free. So it's it's a big difference. It's a big difference. Some of them triggers for me, I avoid large crowds. I can't too many people around me, people standing behind me. That's triggers.
Because when you in a joint, you got to have your back against the wall. Large crowds, in effect, could mean that somebody going to try to make a move on you, right? There's just a lot of prison association with just being out here in society.
Right. Another trigger is these. Oh man, I don't in a way I understand now how when I was younger and you'd be certain kinds of people be intimidated by you, just for no reason, just because of where you come from or what you look like. But now I understand it a little bit though, because if certain dudes come close enough or walk by me, oh, you got a hoodie on, you got skill. I'm on angles now. Oh, what this dude doing? Tight timing on, so I got to deal with that. And then the biggest one of them all is like anytime I'm out and about, I'm on my phone. I'm trying to record. I don't care if I'm just recording anything. I'm trying to make timestamps so I could say where I was at this time.
Say where you were at that time for who?
For like,
in the event if something happens?
In the event if something happened.
Because you're still functioning from that 21, when you were 21 years old, that PTSD, when that crooked detective set you up and said that you were somewhere where you weren't. And so now everywhere you go, you just want to make sure that
I got some type
you got
of
evidence.
like proof of where I was at.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how do you feel like that impacted you as well socially? Like when you got to meet new people, you know what I'm saying? Like, or meeting people, like, because when you do 13 years in a set environment, I mean, you can do 13 months in a set environment and it'll change your interpersonal dynamics. How do you feel like now communicating to the outside world? Because, you know, everybody you encountering now don't have the prison mentality. You know what I'm saying? It may not, now we outside of the prison etiquette, like Reg was talking about earlier. Like now, how's that transition to you? Do you feel like you got to like kind of recalibrate how you dealing with like, you know, an everyday business person, a coworker, or, you know, just a typical person outside? How you feel like that? You know, you got to rewire, you know what I mean? How you engage with people in the market, somebody saying hello, and just, you know, how do you feel like that impacted you?
Exactly. So it's like, all right, being in there, you know, I hear about everything that's going on out here. So now when I come out here, I'm trying to pay close attention to all these things that I was hearing about. Like, perfect example, yesterday, I walk in from my son's house to my mom's house. And this lady out there struggling with the bag, trying to get the trash up and put it in the bag. So I stopped, and I'm like, oh, I got to help this lady. But then I'm like, I'm a big black dude. I don't want to walk over here to this lady and she be like, oh, what you doing? Because people don't do stuff like that. Right. But that's just me. That's just the type of person I am. Let me help this lady with whatever she's doing. So it's just like certain things, like I try to like be myself. And then sometimes it's like, I got to be a little bit like that for them to even understand me. Like, because I be feeling like people they don't get me, they don't understand me no more. Like a lot changed since then. Like it's certain stuff that you used to be able to do 13 years ago that you can't do no more. So to me, it might seem okay, but to everybody else, is not okay. So it's like, I be careful with what I say, what I do.
Who you say it to.
Yeah, who I say it to.
Yeah.
Like, bro, if I see y'all three coming out the store and I walk up in front, I'm going to hold the door for y'all. You feel me? But then I got to, like, this nut ass nigga hold the door for us.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Embedded in your head. Like, is this how I'm going to be viewed? Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, so I feel that I don't want nobody to say nothing crazy. Like, bro, just because I carry myself, like, come from the same thing you come from, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, it'd be like, it'd be hard, man. It's hard trying to adapt, adjust, man. Like, I got go back to thinking normal now. Like, it's hard, like, to hit that switch, like, to go back to normal. Like, I feel like I still ain't there yet.
And also for both of y'all, you know, upon like being released, I know y'all talked about just trying to working on yourselves, and Reg, you spoke on things like, you know, how it, you know, was traumatic, man, not being able to be there when your daughter was born. Your son was 2, you know. Share with us the mind frame, because I'm sure we all had this mentality when we got out as men. We got children. How hard of a fight is it to sit there and say to yourself, I got to pace myself. I know that I got this record, but I know that as a man, I got these responsibilities, and I got to fight, like, to make sure I'm staying on the straight and narrow. But I know that there's a lot of like adversity that faces me because of my record. You know what I'm saying? But I know I got to be a man. Like, how hard is it when you're trying to play catch up per se? Because, you know, you missed that time. It's a mental clock that we have to say, yo, if I'm home, you home 7 months. Wait, hold on. It's like when you graduate college and people, I've been XYZ years graduated that I ain't got no job in my field. Talk about that process and that mental clock where you like, all right, I've been home 6 months now. I should have a home. I should have a car, you know.
So to that, it's crazy. We had my cousin said something real profound last week in the barbershop. We cut together, and he was just like, "Yo, it got to be hard." He's like, I can only imagine how hard it is to be a man and not be able to be a man. To your point, I'm coming home and I've had that issue. Like both of my children are 2 months apart, like to the day. So essentially, like my kids, I dub my kids as the twins because but I coming home, like prior to my incarceration, like I was cool, like coming home is like I'm not walking that light no more. I'm not walking that path no more. I'm not doing that. But it's like I tell my cousins and I tell people, around me, like, yo, I thank you for letting me borrow $50. Like those times I had to borrow $50 to buy my kids some sneakers or be able to do something for my kids. It's hard. It is hard. And it can mess with your ego a lot, man, and your pride as a man. But it's like, you just have to like, again, I could do more for my kids being out here
In the long run.
Yeah.
than me being in there, me putting myself, like, a lot of times I used to be like, man, I'm out here doing this for my family because our financial situation not together. I'm doing this for my kids. And it's like, ultimately, it's like you was doing it for yourself. If you were doing it for your kids, your kids don't care about no damn Jordans. And your kids, I mean, probably not now these kids do now, but, 3-4 years old, your kids, they don't cool with some damn light up sneaks. They think that's
as long as they got you.
Exactly. The best thing in the world, man. The best time. And I had like my, like both of my children, I'm somebody like I do a lot of things. Like I work. And my children's mothers used to be like, they don't want to sit in the barbershop all day long. You messing up their childhood. I used to be like, yo, how's that messing up their childhood?
Going back to your earlier conversation about not having had any birthdays with your father until you were incarcerated at the age of 21. And then you and your father are cellies. And imagine what that influence would have been like if you would have saw your dad in a barbershop.
For sure.
Or if your dad was in whatever industry a legitimate industry.
Right.
Imagine what that would have been like for you. It's not, that's this part of a child. It's part of developing.
Time spent.
Yeah. I'm thinking about something. We're talking about children from a relatively younger age. I have a daughter. This is the first time I'm speaking about this publicly. I have a daughter who doesn't even call me dad. Never done anything egregious to her. I've never done anything, right? But the trauma that she experienced as a result of me being gone, my absence, I sometimes think, going back to that mental health stuff, I sometimes think that she would feel better if I was still incarcerated. Or if I was, I think that with this child in particular, I think that I'm going to be celebrated more when I'm gone, right? Than me actually being here. And that's a mental strain. For sure. And it's not like she doesn't call me, she'll call me, she'll refer to me as her father, but to me, she won't say dad.
Most
Right?
likely because it's a discomfort because she was so used to you being away. Now you being here is like an entire disruption of life, which is what made me also wonder in your position, what kind of switch was that? Because you got a son, he's a teen who probably for his entire existence thought he was never going to really have a relationship with his dad because his dad got life plus 32. What type of shift in even that question to Reg, like how does that all work for you? You coming home, the pressures now of you being the man, and even making up for missed time and all of that.
Like before I went to jail, like Reg said, like I was cool. I always worked 2 jobs. Like I always was good. You feel me? So they expecting me to, when I say down to the mother of my kids, they expecting me to come home and be right back to how I was. Like you never left. And then the whole time I'm locked up, you got this person, that person. Oh, free Ruger, free Ruger, free Ruger. These boys out here running around. They got money. So now when I come home, they expecting like, oh, I'm gonna be right there with them and be on that type time. but I'm not taking the risk that these dudes is taking. Yeah, I could have came home from the rip and, got this from him, and been out here slinging and had a bunch of money. I could have did that. I had plenty of opportunities from that, from plenty of people. But the risk not worth the reward.
Yeah.
The risk is not worth the reward. I understand that now, and I know that now, so I'm going to take my time. So now that I'm taking my time, it's like, that ain't good enough. Like, no, you better, all right, I'm taking my time.
Yeah.
One, I'm home, but I got murder on my record. I got attempted murder on my record.
Not to mention, you're back in a city where a police department, there might be some officers who are still there who might feel some type of way about you being released, and you putting a black stain on their department.
Right, and that's why I don't come to Philly. I don't live in. That's why I don't come to Philly.
Don't say where you live, because we don't want to.
No, I ain't saying that. I ain't doing that. But yeah, that's why I don't come here, because I got to worry about that too, though. So it is a hard thing. Like, and then it's like, all right, I always been the provider, like always been the provider, like. So yeah, that's a struggle, not being able to provide the way that I want to.
Yeah. Or the way that you used to.
Or the way that I used to.
Yeah.
This is what I got. I'm gonna provide with this.
Yeah.
I don't have
I'm gonna
that.
provide what it is that I have.
Right.
From
exactly.
from the resources that I have. I mean, I'll tell you guys a very quick story. You talked about wanting to commit suicide in the last episode. And when I came home, springboarded my career in human services, landed ultimately at a plush job in government in the city of Bridgeport. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I was in that role for about 2 years. And I'm the hometown boy. I'm the Meek Mill equivalent of criminal justice reform in Bridgeport, right? And so my daughter's mother, my daughter was 21 years old at the time. My daughter's mother saw my rise and brought me back to court for child support arrears that accrued while I was incarcerated. I get rearrested in part for that. Wow. Then here comes the newspaper. Mayor's criminal justice reform guy gets locked up. Do you know what that was like for me? I literally went down to the local park, bought some sleep aid before I got down there from the local drugstore, about 4 bottles, went down to the local park, drove into it, it was at night, and composed a text to all my loved ones and was like, I'm out of here. I'm a failure, right? Because that pressure, right? That pressure. You got to understand, when we come home, people tell us to go. We don't have the luxury to stop.
Right.
Reg, when you said that you went to Puerto Rico, you and your squeeze, y'all went to Puerto Rico to meet
my lady.
Yeah, your lady. I'm tapping into my inner dad. my dad used to be like your squeeze. But you know, when you and your lady, when y'all went to Puerto Rico, like my heart danced. Right? To know that you went and you were just able to just press pause. Because life tells us that there is no pause for us. We can't go into the first lane. We always got to stay in the third lane. And so that those mental pressures of even saying, when you give from what it is that you have, and I'm not saying that this is your situation, Donte, but you know, when you give from what it is that you have, but you're giving, and when you give, they kind of like look at you with one of them looks like,
bruh, I've been through that. I remember coming back and, you know, always, much like these brothers, was taking care of everything for my 2 older boys. And I tell a story to my church. I never forget, like, you know, I missed the first couple Christmases. You know what I mean? Like, I did almost 16 months in, and then they kept me on pretrial because I had 2 violent crimes. I beat one. They finally had to let me out because they housed me till they could house me no more outside of almost the time you do for murder when you sit in the county. They almost hold you for 2 years in the county while you fighting that murder. Man, throughout that, I'm finally off everything. And like you said, it was, so what you gonna do? Man, I'm literally just now walking out of everything, you know. But now with that, you know, and suddenly you regarded to you ain't ish, blah, 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 blah. And Christmas, literally, I'm like, yo, I'm doing everything I can for these boys of mine. And I'll never forget, yo, my kids left. Literally got them like, I don't even know, little gift sets from like the pharmacy for Christmas. They go home. I mean, I hear their mother call me every name in the book. And this is me saying, God, I know what you called me to do, so I'm going to stick to it and do what I need to do. I'm on my time. I'm on your time. Like, you know what I mean? Not everybody else's time. And I got to be willing to take on whatever criticisms, shade, slander. And like you said, I know that if I'm giving it my best, that's enough right now.
That's right.
And because of that, I didn't allow those pressures to, I didn't succumb to those pressures that could have took me back to other places. And I had to be okay, even when it was tears in the crib. You know what I mean? And, and praise God for my wife, because, who I was, dating and then ultimately engaged to at the time. But it was like, it tore me to pieces. But it was between me and God. And I had to say, Lord, I'm trusting you. And lo and behold, I'm in the positions that I'm into. Yeah. But my sons are older, 20 and 17. They both live with me. Like a lot of those tables turned. Yeah. Because, I had to realize that at some point they would get it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, I just remember those moments, which is why I asked that question, because I know that play a lot on our mental as men. Yeah. Because it's like society don't even want us to get up at all. And typically we'll put on a race of people. Oh, these white people don't want to do this, do that. Man, people look at us. It ain't even them. They be looking at you.
The fixes from the inside.
You home when you get your own crib. Yeah. Goodness.
I've been home 3 hours.
A person with a job and credit can't get a good crib right now. And it'd be like, man, so our shot clock, we start, it's told to be 24 seconds. We got 3 seconds on the clock. As soon as you come home. Yeah. And I know that play on the mentals, man.
They say, you start getting yourself, it don't happen when you get home. It happens before you come home. And I think like Wallow mentioned that, like he went further into it, but it was like, more so like my whole frame, and we had the conversation off camera, like, being there for everybody, and then being in a situation where you need people and people not being there, you don't let it make you bitter. It's just like, you know what, at the end of the day, you don't owe me nothing. But I'll be damned if I'm coming home and I'm over here going to put myself in a line of fire for a lifestyle that you think that you should have based off of my accountabilities and things like that.
I ain't doing that.
Bro said, I ain't doing that.
That ain't nothing worse going back in that jail cell. Ain't nothing worse going back in that jail cell. That jail cell is not worth it.
You talked about relationships, and you were talking about like the struggles off camera. We were talking about like relationships, and we were talking about like the struggles that we have. Talk a little bit more about that. What those struggles look like for you in relationships, in companionships with your lady, the significant other,
as safe as possible.
As safe as possible, because you gotta go back home.
No, I'm gonna be all the way honest. Like, this is what's going on. You feel me? So it's like you got the person you was in love with before you went into jail, right? Then you got the person that was there for you when you was in jail. So when you come home, who do you choose? So it's like,
you also have the loyalty factor that's driving
and
that.
That's me. I pride myself on being a good person. Like, you go anywhere in this world, anybody that know Donte, anybody that know Ruben, they gonna say, no, good dude. Nothing. You never gonna hear nothing bad. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, can't just say F you when you was there for me. But my heart can't just say F you either. So it's like I'm torn in between the two. So when I do this, you say I'm a bad person. When I do this, you say I'm a bad person. But y'all don't understand what's going on with me.
And what's going on with you?
This is trying to satisfy everybody to the point that I forget about myself. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like I don't care if like I got $1,000 to my name, right? And my son say, Dad, I want to eat sneaks. They cost $600. I got to buy two. I got a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. So that means I can't buy the $600 shoe because I don't have $1,200. So I can't get in there. But that'll tear me up. I will sit in weeks that'll be stuck in my head. Like, I feel like a piece of shit. Like, damn, bro. Like, you feel what I'm saying? But then I had talks with close friends, family members. They be like, bro, why do you feel bad about that? I be like, I don't know. I just do. Like, it's like it goes to like, although I know what's right, yet I still do what's wrong. Right?
Yeah.
So now me, I'm going to figure out how to get the rest of this money to make that happen. But now I'm left with nothing. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So now I can't even like save up my cheese to make sure I'm right. Now I could go take this work from John Doe. I could make 15 grand this month.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that though. That's not worth going back in that jail cell.
Sure.
So you just gotta have an attitude, or you feel me now. As far as the relationships, it's just like, I don't know. Like I just be like stuck. Like what is the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Because I'm always trying to do what's right. Like, so what is the right thing to do in that situation?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So to a person that don't understand it, it's gonna come off as, "Oh, you playing games with them girls?"
Yeah.
When that's not that.
Not it at all.
That's not that
At all. Yeah.
Because I'm being like honest. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
And you're in therapy.
yeah, I
Yeah.
see 3 different therapists. Yeah,
3 different therapists. How's that going for you?
it's going good. That's like the only space where, like, I could like talk to people who like really understand what I'm going through, or at least care. Like, you feel me? Because there ain't too many people that care or whatever though. So it definitely helps though. And I also do
And
like,
and you also being able to speak with someone who doesn't have to carry the emotional weight of what it is that you're saying. Because I think that there's a difference. You know, I hear, you know, women say, my man needs to be my best friend, or, you know, I need to be my man's best friend. Sis, you don't got the capacity for what it is that I'm going to say, because some of what the weight that I'm carrying actually comes from you. It comes from you,
Exactly.
right? Like, and so I can't. You don't have the degree of objectivity. You don't have the degree of partiality or impartiality where you can just say like, okay, oh, you know, like I can just hear that and walk away from it like nothing ever happened. Much of what I'm carrying is actually coming from you. That's the reason why I need 3 therapists.
that is never a safe place to say that.
You might listen at the moment, but you gonna bring it back up 3 hours later.
Oh yeah, or 3 weeks later.
Yeah, there you go.
You remember when you told me, and I remember you had that black hat on, and it was the LA, and I'm like, I don't even remember what I eat for breakfast. Then you bringing up something,
How about that?
yeah.
That's the most though. Like, but where I be feeling most comfortable, I do like a Zoom joint with the Innocence Project and another organization called Shining Light. So I do Jones with them.
When people from Philly say John or Ball, that just basically means it's referring to whatever it is that it was previously said. So when he says I'm doing a Zoom John, that means that I'm doing a Zoom session. Go ahead, please continue.
Yeah. So that though, but there's one guy specifically though who I do it with named LaFay. LaFay did a bunch of time too. He had a life sentence. He came home. Like, he really get me. Like, everything he said, I be like, yo, that's crazy. I be going through the same thing. But he handled it better than I do. He understand it better than I do.
Come with time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
talk about that, Reg. I just want to bring you in. You just said something.
No, I was saying like it just come with time. Like, and it's like I you know, I didn't go through that, you know, with because that's deep, man. That's deep. But it just come with time. You got to give yourself more grace.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself, man. Because at the end of the day, you in control of you, not nobody else. You might want this person to act like this and this person to act like that. And it's like sometimes you got to step away from some things. Like, you know, sometimes and it hurt. That you got to step away from some things,
bro, it ain't
but
easy.
Some things you got to for the betterment of your own self. You can't be better for nobody else if you yourself not good.
I just wanted to add to that though, just a point of reference, because I listened to you say multiple things. 2 things you got to come up with the resolve of. You know, 1, you said you ain't never going back to that jail, right? You also can't. You got to say to yourself, I'm not putting myself in no jail either. Because now if I have to continue to think for people or how they feel and be a people pleaser, Paul says what? If I still live to be a people pleaser, I can't be a servant of the Lord. So I can't live to be a people pleaser because guess what? I'm now putting myself into prison because one thing about people, the human flesh is never satisfied. You know what I'm saying? So you got to also tell yourself, I'm never putting myself into no prison because I've already came out of a prison. You know what I mean? So I won't keep myself ensnared to the emotions of others because them emotions go up and down. Also on the other side, I would just say as a father, man, too, you know, when your sons may ask for a thing at times and, you know, your generosity and your pride and everything else, sometimes, man, we got to step up, take the lead as a man and say, you know what, right now, we ain't at the space and place where we buy $600 sneakers. What y'all going to do is take this pair of New Balances, I get you one, and we still got 800 left. And I'm going to put it up because like you said, if you got to be able to stack, stash, save, do what you got to do, that's for the betterment of everybody long term. You follow what I'm saying? So like at that point, those be those lessons that we got to teach as fathers. You know what I'm saying? To where our sons now begin to learn from us because we can't keep ourselves entrapped in the mentality that we making up for missed time. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna never be enough money for us to make up for a lot of, you know, missed gifts and missed whatever that we calculate. So like in order for us all to be better, that's me saying, you said, we gonna be the man and take the lead and teach those lessons and lay the blueprint out. You know what I mean? And it's like, I would just implore you to think about those things, but you came out of a prison. You can't bring yourself under the captivity of everybody else's opinions, man.
It's like this. Your kids ain't gonna love you your kids ain't gonna love you no less, man. And a lot of times it be the mothers. Because I have my daughter 16. She just turned 16, February 27th. My son be 16, April 26th. My son, through and through, me personally, I don't have not a designer, nothing. I mean, outside of Nikes, New Balance.
Yeah, this is me every day. T-shirt.
My son, he cool with, you know what, damn, I just seen some New Balances for us. We just got some nice newbies of being 40 because he damn near wearing my size. It's my daughter. It's that one. It's like,
Girl.
Them girls gonna get you every time.
I need some Balenciaga. I need that. And it's like, one, we not even on that accord. Like we have our own little struggles amongst one another that where it's like you're not deserving of that. You know, I'm not a bank. And you're not gonna feel no kind of way because I can't. You're not gonna feel no kind of way. You're not gonna make me feel no kind of way because I'm not buying you these $600.
Yeah, and it's not going to kill you if you don't get it. Right. My grandmother used to say, "Ain't no microwave dinners around here," and I used to like always be like, "Why are you always saying that?" Like one day I was like, "Why are you always saying that?" She used to say, reason being is because anything that you get quick, it's not going to taste better than what it is that I'm going to cook for you. Like we don't do microwave dinners around here. And so sometimes we got to tell our kids, ain't no microwave dinners around here, right? Like you getting mad about these Balenciagas or you getting mad about these Pradas, but you're not looking at the long game. We playing a long game around here. And our long game is a matter of like, I'll say this, we got to close for a second. The other day, my daughter, she was like, Dad, I need a new iPhone. My daughter's 20 plus years old and they play that game where they want to be grown. When they want to be grown and then when they want to be a child, when they want to be a child, when they want to ask you for something.
We did it too.
Yeah. But my daughter was saying, she was like, you know, I need a new iPhone. I said, how many iPhones have you had? She's like, every one of them. I said, yeah, every one iPhone. I said, do you know what it would have been like if the money that you calculated, that totaled for every iPhone that you bought, which is about 20,000 or so, right? Imagine if you would have put that stock in Apple. Imagine where you would have been. Imagine where you could be. That's the long game.
Right.
And so for us, let's not have microwave dinners. Right. Yeah. Let's have something home cooked. I want to thank both of you for your transparency and your vulnerability, because where we come from, what we experience, and the things that we have been exposed to, they don't dictate conversations like this. Mental health, talking about suicide, talking about depression, talking about anxiety, talking about, you know, just for you, bro, Donte, just talking about just being in a corner crying. That takes strength. That takes strength to admit that today I'm not the best emotional version of myself.
Right.
And so, my brother, you can always. You got to make no long distance call like my grandmother used to say. I used to be on a cell phone before my grandmother passed away. I was on a cell phone one day. She's like, "Who you talking to?" And I was like, I was talking to one of my cousins who was down south. She was like, "That's a long distance call." And I'm like, "Ma, they don't got long distance calls no more." It's all the same on a cell phone. Right. You can always make a long distance call.
How about that?
It ain't gonna never cost. It ain't gonna never cost too much for you to make a call out to Connecticut to me. And I also know that you got a resource right here in the city of Philadelphia. And now you got one extra brother that's sitting next to you. Until next time, I'm your man, Louis L. Reed for Illmatic, Surviving Beats, Overcoming Breaks.
Pastor Carl tapping out.
We out of here. Peace.
Until next time, like, subscribe, share. Illmatic Podcast. Overcoming Beats, Surviving Breaks. See you next time.